Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
Simon, unless the political players in Uganda choose to be pretentious, what is politics about? Politics is about people meeting and talking about issues that affect society. They may meet as two, they may talk on phone, they may meet, but politics is about talking about affairs that affect us. You all know that in order to run politics, there are so many things that happen. In the governments and even at the corporate level, there is what they call a kitchen cabinet, which you will never see. Perhaps which will never even be available at the decision-making forums.
You speak for NRM.
I'm telling you.
Has NRM or anyone convened a meeting constituted into a bloc with all the parties that Mao has mentioned to discuss anything to do with transition? I remember the first time you disowned Mao. One
of the blocks that seemingly looks like what Mao has defined is what took place today. Some of those parties that Mao mentioned, today they have been in a summit. I'm not a member of the summit. Do you know what they discussed? We only know the resolutions that the Secretary General mentioned. But they met today in the glare of everybody. So Mao is not very far from the truth, because these people sat and they started talking about issues that affect the country.
No,
and each of them...
This is iPod. But Mao talks of a bloc comprising 5 big parties.
So is that bloc or corporate? Because even the bloc what he's talking about is not corporate, but it is an association of individuals, individual heads, or members of the group. And that is what exactly was happening today.
Okay, is talk about transition anywhere on the cards?
Transition? One of the transitions has happened today. And I talked about it here.
No. I think you're vulgarizing the whole subject.
How?
Mao is talking about post-Museveni regime. And he's saying it's not going to be through an election. There is something happening behind the scenes, in the rooms. Are you aware of this arrangement at all?
I cannot talk about the scenes behind the scenes where I'm not a member or I have not been privy to.
You are in a...
What I know is that we have an election and we shall have nomination for President Museveni on Tuesday next week for the next presidential elections. If the discussion has been elsewhere where I haven't been, to me as a spokesperson of NRM...
You are not privy.
I'm not privy to this, but I'm privy that there was iPod summit today where those groups mentioned by Mao, they sat together with President Museveni. He even handed over the flag for the iPod leadership. You can't be sure what else that those people discussed. Bring here members of the summit or any member of those groups and find out from them if there is anything beyond what...
Is there a possibility that Mao took it for granted that whoever belongs to iPod is automatically engaged in a discussion around transition?
Mao did not say that, according to the statement that I had. Mao, as a member of cabinet, is very privy to many things, and also a member or a president of a party. Is privy to so many things that we are not part of. You can even find out that even his vice president, there are things, if he's not delegated, that he may not know. So it becomes unfair for you to come and ask us to delve into things that Mao can best explain. Should you find time to invite him here?
Okay.
But
how significant is his utterance about a bloc against a bloc? We're now having 2 blocks.
Mao was talking about the nature of politics. His argument is more ideological than physical. That in the political tendencies in Uganda, we have people that are prone and open to discussion and dialogue. And you heard the summit members themselves, the statements that they made. But you have also heard the members who did not attend, their ideological setting about what President Museveni is and about what the cooperation is all about. The same people whom you have heard disparaged Mao when the DP entered into an agreement with President Museveni. They came and disparaged him. They came and talked all sorts of things, but later started demanding from the Mao whom they didn't believe in the things that he was doing. Then they would go back to him to demand for the solutions. I started wondering whether this wasn't his hypocrisy, because if you didn't believe in the first place what...
I have a legitimate right to demand from a minister in government, a minister responsible for justice and constitutional affairs.
By his docket?
By the virtue of his office, there are questions we will put to him, not because he signed, because even if he had signed no agreement with NRM, for example, as a parliamentarian, if there are issues in his sector, I will certainly go and ask him how to come. That doesn't mean that the agreement he signed has yielded results. I am now interacting and engaging with him as a minister.
Honorable,
and it doesn't matter
Honorable Sembuju Nganda, you are very right. And I know you know what I'm referring to.
I don't know.
There are people who disparaged Honorable Mao and they called the agreement all sorts of names. And at the end of the day, they started asking for the children or the babies or the fruits of the agreement. So how can you ask the fruits of the agreement when you are talking about the work of a minister?
But the deputy president of DP was here saying the agreement had delivered nothing.
Yeah, of course we demanded for its implementation. And in my opinion, it had not been implemented.
And now?
Up to date. So, by the way, these are things, you know, they say a mosquito that has fallen on your hand can be hit anyhow. Except that if it falls on your scrotum, you have to do it with utmost care. So for me, because these are things that we must definitely speak about, but with a lot of utmost care.
Well, Honorable Chiwanda.
No, Simon, to me,
Honorable Chiwanda.
when you look at the two
Honorable
blocks,
Chiwanda, let me come in here. When Mao started peddling the idea of a transition, arguing that it is embedded in the agreement, President Museveni came out and said, forget, we've never discussed anything of this kind. Do we count this as a second lie from Mao? No. Given that...
Because you are talking about my president. Let me tell you, I think the president of Uganda did not discern the difference between discussing and appending signatures on a document whose contents included a transition. So the discussion hadn't taken place up to today.
No.
So for me...
No. The president was vehement. He came out and said...
That was never discussed.
Yes. We've never discussed anything to do with transition.
Because there had not been any discussions.
That put Mao under the bus.
But the document, a copy of which you all got as the media.
No.
The media got that copy. I have one here. I think I will not leave without passing one to you.
The one that made rounds, Mao came out and said,
no,
it's almost close.
Forget about that one. That one was just mere ballyhoo. But I can tell you that a transition was part of the document on which signatures were appended by principals. But the discussions about the same had not taken place. And the media were inquiring from the president about discussions, about dialogue.
President Museveni was clueless about the ingredients of the agreement.
No, he was actual. There was no discussion. But the document that gives details about what shall be discussed in the dialogue included the transition.
To me, Simon, this is a matter of course, different approaches. When you talk about the two groups, the two blocks, Ono Mao actually was referring to the group that had gone to Kololo into the summit. That this group believes in dialogue, and that's why they are into the iPod. There is another group which does not believe in dialogue. Yes, and that is just what he was explaining. The only people that he talked about who were not in Kololo was DF, problem PLOU. But UPC, DP, FDC, They were part of the colonial, and that's what it meant. It's a dialogue.
If I could play Mao's voice again, he comes out and says, there are already meetings happening in rooms.
That's okay.
Not in the media. Are you aware of any kind of meeting that established a
Simon,
block
you are just
to counter the other block?
You are just insisting on something that we've already answered. This is when Mao was talking about, who was talking about these particular members. And the members he was talking about, 80% of them, they are members of the IPOD, and that is the summit. I'm not a secretary general of the party, neither am I president. So I'm not privy to what my chairman discusses with the chairman of another party. Okay. So now, if there are issues that are discussed in the room and they've been reviewed by one of the participants, under what capacity do I now say, no? First of all, I'm not invited in such meetings.
Okay, how much benefit of doubt would you give Mao on this very, very fundamental statement, given that the first stance Mao made was kicked out by the president?
But of course, this is a positive statement. First of all, if somebody comes out and says, we are under discussion, we are discussing to have a peaceful transition, where it involves, because even I think I had the Honorable Mpuga was saying that there must be some changes in some laws and here and there, so which is actually the same with what Mao is saying, because if you cannot have that unless there is some discussion. Honorable Mpuga visited my office, visited us as political parties, and he came up with a series of laws that actually need to be amended if we're to have a peaceful transition. So to me, the idea is that one bloc believes that we can discuss first, another group that believes that even if we've not discussed, even if there are no dialogue, we can head on, we can take on.
Do we take this for an idea or something already in the works?
It can be both, but to me, I wouldn't doubt him as a president of a party, but also, as Honorable Mbide was telling you, that even this that we thought that wasn't part of the document, it was part of the document, only that has not been discussed yet.
Thank you.
And the President Museveni's word was not saying that the transition is not there, but he was saying that the laws are already there that actually propels the transition.
Thank you. Honorable Semuju. Looks like the battle lines have now been drawn. It's 5 against 3.
No, for me, one of the significant things that the Honorable Mao said, it hasn't been properly picked, is that he said this is going to be the quietest election in the world. And those who choose to make a noise will be silenced. I am now paraphrasing. And he outlined no procession, no this. There will be, you give a notice of a venue of a rally, you go there. And I want to thank him. I'd always thought that that's what, and even in our statement on Monday as PFF, we did speak about the nature of elections that we're expecting. Elections that have been militarized, elections in which candidates have no say, elections in which the NRM is preparing to brutalize those who are competing against Museveni, elections that have been made to biologically suit the, in our statement, you said the inadequacies of 80-year-old Museveni. So that's what the Electoral Commission is organizing. If it is a number of days for campaigning, for rallies, there must be fewer, because an 80-year-old man cannot campaign every day for 2-3 months. So, and I want to thank Mao. My understanding of his statement, he actually validated the statement we made, that you guys prepare the elections you're going to participate in. Maybe that's why the Honorable Mbide said that all of us believe in Museveni, that he will organize those of us who say will defeat him. For us, we don't believe that we are going to, because we have defeated Museveni before, we are only not announced. And the likelihood of that happening is also there, a big percentage. But we think these elections is an opportunity, it's a front, it's an opportunity for you to go and rally the country once again.
You don't have a candidate.
That opportunity, I don't have to have a presidential candidate to move around the country. We have structured our campaigns differently, by the way. They are going to happen at a regional and sub-regional levels because we have candidates who have nominated at a local government level. We have others who are going to be nominating at a parliamentary level. So we intend to go to the countryside to campaign for those candidates, but we think these elections are giving you an opportunity that no any other period will offer you, meeting people, raise their level of civic competence, because in PFF we believe that the country must engage in civic activities. If there are those who are going to do the talking, it is also good they can go and engage in talking. But the population must assert itself. You cannot sit there and wait from 7 to give you. So he constantly must be reminded through constitutional means. Protesting is one of those forms of communication that are guaranteed in our constitution. So the statement that I don't want me to lose and others is that the minister responsible for justice and constitutional affairs has said government has conspired first to silence people during this election, make it quiet, and if you are making noise, he didn't outline how you will be made silent, but he said you will be silenced. So those
So
of
you
us
found that more captivating?
So the issue of the blocks and no blocks didn't bother me. After all, there are members of a particular block who are saying I'm not part of the block. I am more interested in the exercise that begins next week, because Mao has really put a talk around it that you guys coming for elections, come prepared for the following. First, you are going to be silenced. 2, no procession. 2, you will have a rally. We escort you to the rally, and that fits within the template because you have Muhoozi Kainerugaba, Mr. Museveni's son, announcing not once. One time he tweeted and said, for us, Bahima, you will know in this election, you will see what will happen to you, opposition. Then he said every presidential candidate is going to be controlled by SFC. So really Mao is just validating earlier statements made by government actors. And I want to see what Dombo, who says he's not privy to many things. Control. I want to hear Dombo, who said he's not privy to many things, what he's going to say.
Simon, it's only in Uganda that at times I listen to leaders, especially those who are in vintage positions, and then you wonder what exactly they are saying. You find a member of parliament who votes money to give government, and the government tells them what they are going to use the money for. They have a classified budget, they buy tear gas, so they buy coercive. Let me finish.
With your 20 years,
will you allow him make his statement?
No, with his 20 years in parliament, he thinks MPs know what classified expenditure is all about.
Simon, they even build prisons and give government money to do coercive activities in order to create public order. But come here and debate as if what Mao is saying about is something strange. Today, during the iPod summit, I listened to some of the contenders for the presidency giving statements and commitments. Honorable Amriat came up and made a very specific statement, which is contrary to what he said in the previous elections. In the previous elections, he called a press conference and said he's going to defy. Now he came and said, I'm going to obey all the regulations. You cannot have a country without regulation, and you think you can have order. Whether it is a mosque, whether it is in a church, whether it is a...
Okay, what parameter did Mao use to say this is going to be the most peaceful election? And
quietest in the world. Yeah. That's what he said.
That's an aspiration. Would you want a noisy one? Because me, I would ask you, would you want a noisy elections?
You see, in the last...
When you
one of the
quiet,
petitions Dr. Wesley
no
filed
public
with the Supreme Court, he was complaining that Museveni was abusing him. And all judges said, but election is about that. Sidombo, you mean you're going to be herding us like cows in these elections?
I don't think Mao said so.
That's what it implies.
You know, that is an interpretation.
I have seen in Uganda even funeral processions. And for you are saying to take the Museveni signatures, whether forged, you brought people by military trucks. Now you are saying others must not even have a procession.
Is that what Mao meant by this?
No, and this one
he outlined.
in the past election, for instance, on 2 episodes, the internet has been shut down. Is that in the interest of restoring public order?
Quietness.
Absolutely. You know.
So now we are looking at the CDF coming out to say, this time you will see us.
Then what?
You know, I at times wonder, when a member of parliament, to me, this is what surprises me, Simon. I've been a member of parliament. And every time, whether CDF, whether Minister for Defense, whether President Museveni raised any matter, you know what we did in parliament? Parliament would go the extent of wanting to summon the president to parliament, but because of his being the fountain of honor, we would honor him by going to meet him in the State House, and he would provide the answers. These are some of the things, because for us, we're not members of parliament, and there are things we can't ask. So when these issues are said by Mao, who is a member of parliament, he's a minister of government, and he's earning public money, he's driving a car of government, flying a flag, ask him to explain the things that have been said.
Thank you.
Because that is the only way we can run the government.
I would like us to move on.
He said, I am going to arrest you. Dombo, things have changed. Remember how you got arrested with the Nevanda? Don't pretend that during your time you never faced difficulty.
So being arrested, you are very right. Then it is good you are talking about me getting arrested.
Did you ever resolve that matter?
If we got arrested during that time, why would you fear arrest now?
Me, I don't fear, but others do.
Then they should not go into politics.
Honorable Mbide, again, one of the things that came out significantly this week was an announcement. It was actually made by Honorable Semujunganda that PFF is not fronting a candidate, but they are considering.
They're expecting to win.
They are considering contacting, or rather working together with the
But I'm here, why don't you ask me to tell you what I said?
ANT and the National Inter-Platform. Everything was relayed live.
Yeah, but you are misrepresenting what we said.
For the record.
We said part of the reason we signed a cooperation agreement with the ANT was because we believe in building a stronger, united front. And we agreed, both of us, that we will go and reach out to other genuine opposition parties. In fact, we went and reached out to NUP and discussed the matter of fielding a joint presidential candidate. So we said for us, we will not be fielding a candidate because we think we need to field one. And one way of easing work is by us not fielding, and then you begin negotiating. Because I remember one time I was involved in these discussions, and every party was saying ours is the best candidate. So we spent sleepless nights and eventually arrived at no decision. But we say, no, for us we will not. The two of you have candidates, you can continue with the discussion.
Honorable Bide, let's look at the timing, the spirit, and the reality.
First of all, I agree with them entirely. We are holding the National Executive Committee of the party tomorrow. I am also another person fronting a motion forbidding the party president from running for president, so that we can restrict the otherwise scarce resources to positions that can be obtained. We deal with the parliamentary and the local government capture instead of...
What's your proposal again?
Stopping him from running for president. It is mine. It's not yet a party decision. But I'll lay it on the table. We will discuss it, and a decision shall be taken.
Is it upon realization that he has always performed dismally?
No. Who hasn't? You just tell me one opposition party that has won. So for me, I know we are all pygmies, but one saying they are taller than the other.
But
So for me, in the circumstances, I have a belief that a party like the Democratic Party needs to take a decision. Should we commit the otherwise scarce resources to a position we shall not win, or allocate the scarce resources to positions that are winnable, so that we can adopt a process of both parliament and local government capture as we prepare for the next state of affairs in the politics of Uganda? For me, that is what I am going to support.
Do you see the emergence of another very strong coalition that will give Museveni a run for his money?
When
PFF comes to back, for
No,
instance?
it's not going to happen. You see, for me, I am not that kind of a person that will just tell you a lie when I know. Maybe I am not as brilliant, as practicable in order to understand how deadly now the new coalition is going to perform. But I have a feeling that it would have happened if the laws permit. It would have happened if the conditions and status of politics permits. But at the end of the day, I know that we must now establish building blocks for the future of that happening. Today, if you prepare for the next election, you are just telling me that you have a very great sense of humor. What you need to prepare for is the next generation, in my opinion.
Okay, how would you evaluate the strength of NUP combined with PFF and ANT?
In which region, for example?
Countrywide.
Yeah, but the country,
Elections are countrywide.
The country is divided into regions.
Is it going to
If
give
you want
them
to make an assessment on political success stories, you need to tell me of the demographics that you contemplate that each political entity is going to bring on the table. Today, we have got a country where almost no political leader can guarantee support in a specific region. So what basis are you going to use to create demographics that are believable? It is not there. So we are all going to be commencing. And in fact, for those of you who think it is like telling you that it is going to rain and you start pouring away your water simply because somebody has told you it is going to rain. For me, we as the Democratic Party believe there is no success story at the declaration of the next results. But we know that there is a competition at other levels other than the presidency. And those competitions can actually be won by a political party that has organized itself. And those are the building blocks that will create the best future.
Don't you see?
So that is what we feel.
Don't you see
shall
another
have to be discussed.
TDA emerging?
Yes, but now if it emerges, it will tell you what did the other TDA do? Same results. So for me, if it emerges, I can contemplate even its future. It only emerges as a Habinja process for what will happen. It tells you, it foretells. Like we have been accusing of foretelling. In Buganda here, we have got a bird called a chiwugulu. I don't know how it is called in English.
An owl.
It doesn't kill. It only tells you that somebody is going to die here. And you are choosing the chiwugulu for having told you that we are going to have a silent election. So if you want to be president announced in a silent election, it is okay. You can go ahead. But for us, I don't want my party to participate in that guesswork. That you are going to participate in a silent election, but eventually shock that you have actually shocked the country, that you have actually won that election. We can prepare for the best election.
No, I want to bring in on.
I wanted to thank him for that, because when you look at the description by Honorable Robert Mao about the two blocks, I will strongly encourage the Vice President of DP to go ahead with that proposition. Because you can see that if that proposition is brought in a bigger forum...
I think it's telling me how much you cozy up to each other. you're very comfortable.
When you see
you're so in bed.
that proposition creates the ideology I talked about, that those people who believe in dialogue, with these elections that we're going into, we might end up as having two groups of civilized people versus another group that may be seeming uncivilized.
Honorable Chiwanga.
Is this from the former chairman of PAFO?
Yeah,
This one here.
but saints have a past.
Simon,
Do you know that?
this is the former member of FDC.
Yes.
He's no longer there.
And I left because
And matters changed.
I left because the ideals.
No. I want us to take a break, but
This one here wanted a peaceful transition.
I want to hear from Honorable
This
Chiwanda.
Dombo here.
Honorable Chiwanda, do you see PFF relating with NUP comfortably? And will it give you a run for your money?
First of all, the issue of political coalitions here, it has failed to work for a very long time. One time before Honorable Mpuga began DF, I talked to him. I said, but if you are with
Honorable Dombo, please.
if you are with SDP now, SDP is a registered party. Why do you go into a hassle of registering another party? By that time, I didn't know that he was actually going to get one. When you have someone you believe into. Then there was a time when PFF was also under registration, and you know the tussle they go through to register party. And by this time, there was Muntu already with the aunt as a party, and NUP was there. So the fact that Honorable Semuju and the team picked up papers to go and register for their own party, that already shows that we differ. So I don't think that at an evening of just fielding a presidential candidate, that's when they can agree. Because by the time Honorable Semuju registered PFF, these other parties were ready, they were there. And remember, Simon, if there was any difference that had existed between Jeno Muntu and the Semuju team when they were still in FDC, when they were calling each other mole or that kind of, and they had discovered that probably Muntu wasn't a mole, then the only automatic thing they would have done, after seeing that we've probably differed from the Nandalas, the easiest thing to do was to come and say, okay, Muntu now come, bring your party, then we can move together. But the fact that they were not even able to move, then I don't think that even at this time, fielding a single presidential candidate can yield any result.
As we take a break, Honorable Semuju, isn't it rather deceptive to tell the world that NUP can relate with PFF when at this time you're pulling out daggers for each other for local government slots like the mayoral seat in Kampala? There's no love lost.
Not only that.
I am...
Even in Kira.
Took over a candidate of NUP.
I thought that question was for me to ask.
Yes, it's yours.
But I can see the eagerness. You see, Dombo was the chairman for PAFO. He wanted a peaceful transition.
And we are still pursuing it.
Now he's here. Now he's here supporting Life Presidency. I am the shadow minister for finance in a NUP government in Parliament. We work together. That's a fact. When they wanted to appoint me a minister, they reached out and I accepted to serve in their government. And there are many other opportunity people who serve in their government. We may not agree on each and everything, but sometimes we agree. Because I said here, I was in Iruzira, must have said it last week, to see Dr. Besigye, who has been in prison for more than 80 months now. If the maximum security where he is, with Ajo Bedi Rutare, there are also NUP supporters and leaders who have joined him, including those who were insulting him. Now fate has brought them together. So what we face collectively as a country, including some people in NRM who are sensible, they think we need to fight for our freedom together. Leave alone these cheerleaders, and Dombo is not a cheerleader. I don't know why he accepted that job. Because the Domba, you know, the Domba, wishes and will want a better Uganda. So by saying we will not fill the candidate and we'll try to work with others, it means at least it reveals the inner belief in PFF. Because this is not about us. Making Uganda better is not our individual.
But are they warming up to you, really?
They don't have to. If they don't have to, as I said, fate has made us work together, sometimes in parliament, sometimes outside parliament. The conditions that we collectively face will make us work together whether we like it or not.
As we take a break, do you see yourself campaigning for Robert Kyagulanyi?
I said we are in a discussion. If the discussion comes to that conclusion, I'll come here and answer. It will be obvious.
Wednesday and Thursday next week, Tuesday and Wednesday rather, pardon me. Tuesday, presidential nominations are for Tuesday and Wednesday. Already, there have been announcements telling candidates or aspirants who will then be candidates not to do processions, and the regulations seem to be tighter this time. Honorable Mbide, how do you gauge the mood, the tempo, and of course the regulations?
I do not believe in the current legal regime on matters to do with presidential elections. At parliamentary level, obviously, we are going to have very stiff competition. First of all, between us and the NRM, but also in our own midst.
For the record, you're bidding in Buekula?
Yes, the people asked me and I consented to the bidding.
I think you're becoming a political nomad.
No, you see, on a wedding day, the names of exes are not mentioned. So,
okay.
Hey, you only deal with the serious people who have definitely taken you to church. So, I believe there is going to be, of course, it is all incumbent upon the manners that shall be exhibited.
You seem to be calling the presidential election already.
Pardon?
You seem to be calling the presidential already.
Presidential election, but I know the results. So I know that it is going to be a thin veneer. You know, when you look at the election for presidential purposes is a thin veneer. When you look at Chinese furniture, for example, there is this covering atmosphere on the furniture itself. It is so smooth, but covering very rough furniture inside. So the smooth circumstances will show that this is very nice furniture. But inside, if you remove the veneer, you will find that what is being kept internally is actually extremely chaotic. So the presidential election, even if it is not actually dubbed silent, there is going to be silence, punctuated by want of resources. There is apathy, first of all. The voters are continuously beginning to think that the result of one election are not actually the very definition of what they have done.
So did you go to pick Mao's forms just for the show?
No, ideally, the forms were picked and the party is up and we are actually fronting a candidate. It is only that tomorrow I will definitely move a motion seeking to change the circumstances so that we don't. If my motion, if I lose, we will definitely return the forms. But if I win, we will not. For us, we are the Democratic Party. We believe in the organs and what their decisions are. So that is what we
So you're in this casually?
Who? Who is the you in the question? No, not at all. We are in this democratically, not casually. And the debate is part of our democracy.
You say thin veneer. Thin veneer literally suggests that on the top it's smooth, but beneath?
Yes, but
it's filthy.
This is not, that description is not restricted to DP. You see, they say there are two types of people whose conduct definitely only hurts the surroundings. And that is the dead and the stupid people. We are neither of the two. So for us, we will not behave in a manner that only hurts the surroundings. Because running around the country, telling everybody how you are going to win an election that for 40 years you have known has been declared a different measure. In my opinion, I think, until there is a changed state of affairs, you don't expect a win for presidential purposes.
You're either stupid or dead.
But you are, of course, you are either of the two. So your conduct does not hurt you, but it hurts the surroundings. You see, the dead don't actually care. They just die somewhere, yes. And so are the stupid. So we are neither of the two.
Thank you.
Yes.
Honorable Dombo, what's your reading of the landscape ahead of Tuesday and Wednesday?
Simon, this is an election where we're going to participate, and leading and very strong parties in the country are searching for presidential candidates, and they are announcing themselves that they are not going to have presidential candidates, and they expect to win. So to us, we want to encourage them to continue doing that, and how we wish all the parties did that, and the NRM emerged unopposed. It will be cheaper for the country.
They sponsored competitors.
It will be cheaper for the country. It will be more smoother and more quieter, and everybody would love the outcome, because
Katumba has already returned his forms.
yes, but they are going to vet them and find out whether the signatures are correct, because the process is not yet over, because that's the work of the election, and I don't want to talk for them, or else I might be accused of conspiring with them to do anything, because you know how politicians speak here. But also secondly, when you look at the people who have tried to emerge, including those ones in the leading opposition, why would Honorable Semuju leave FDC when there are existing strong parties but choose to form a new party? That is a demonstration that he has no faith in those other parties, because he thinks they perhaps have a better option but cannot raise a presidential candidate. These are the issues which are going to dominate the discussion, where most people may end up concluding and say, but why don't we leave President Museveni to run
And die in office.
and finish, given, one, his contribution, given his, today I was with members of the opposition when President Museveni was speaking in Kololo. And one of the things that I admire, including Honorable Semuju Nganda, he has mentioned this, and that's what brilliant people do, because Semuju is. Whenever President Museveni speaks, people listen to him. And today, one opposition member at Kololo said, these are very brilliant ideas from the president. And he said, but are you coming to support us? He said, that would be a discussion for another day. So to me, that acknowledgement would show you, and the conduct of other parties which cannot raise presidential candidates, would show that President Museveni is still a dominant force in the political atmosphere in Uganda. And if there was a possibility of returning him unopposed, that would be the best for us in NRM, the best for this country, but also, it would also be good for other parties as they sort themselves out for the next generation.
Thank you very much. I just want to tell our viewers that we're now crossing to Afro Mobile. Thank you for